Welcome to Journey with Joan, a podcast hosted by Joan Wyden, a medium, Reiki master, and mind-body-spirit coach. Join Joan on a transformative journey as she empowers listeners to embrace their future, let go of the past, and create a fulfilling life. Are you ready to embark on your own journey of self-discovery? Please welcome the host of Journey with Joan, Joan Wyden.
Welcome. I'm so happy and grateful to join you tonight. Tonight, we are going to be talking about belief patterns and what they can do to us, how they prevent us from moving forward and getting what we want. And actually, belief patterns can wreak havoc in our lives, in anything, even in our personal lives, you name it, any even decision making. It can happen. And it is one of those things where we go, okay, we don't even realize that it actually does it because they're so deep seated within us that we don't even realize that they're there. It's a subconscious thing. Most of us would say, you know what, I'm over it. That happened in my childhood. No big deal. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you, unless we've sat with it and honored that piece of us, it still exists in that, within our body. And it also, you get this little voice in your head that says, hey, we want to protect ourselves, and this is how it's going to be done. And we don't even know it. It's one of those automatic things that goes on in our head, and then it's done. All right, so belief patterns, what are they? They are things that we accepted in our lives, whether we were taught it by our parents or we did something and we went, ooh, okay, that we don't like how that felt. So then we've then put it in our bank of memories to go, okay, we need to protect ourselves from that moment or those kind of decisions, right? So then that's how a belief comes in. Sometimes, so they are here to protect us. Sometimes they are our preconceived notions. They are judgments. They are just perceptions sometimes. Because sometimes when we were young and little and we bought it and sold it to ourselves, these perceptions decide to, how can I say, they decide to set up residence in our house, within our space, and then we just accept it, and we accept it as the word, kind of like God said that, or right, my parents said that, so it's absolutely 1000% true. And how many things did our parents tell us that weren't true, but they said it because they wanted us to listen to them or be safe, even though they knew it was a blatant lie. All right. And so some things like that get stuck within our bodies, and unknowingly we make decisions around those subconscious thoughts. All right. Sometimes it's a reminder of the past. What else? So how can we see it? So when a great example would be if you were to people watch with a friend, you go to a coffee house and you're like, hey, let's play a game where we look at another table and we talk about, you be that person, I'll be the other person. And then you have the conversation. I bet you they're saying this, right? And you're going back and forth, back and forth. You can tell with some of your perceptions and your things, belief patterns of what you've accepted within your life, because they come out in weird circumstances like that, right? So whether they're judgments, it's like, look at that lady she's walking, she looks like she's unhappy, she's, you know, she clearly doesn't know what's going on in her life, right? So we are perceiving, we are pushing our judgments on that person, whether or not maybe she's deep in thought and she's like, okay, I have to worry about this, this, and this. I have to have all this stuff done. But from the outside looking in, we look at her train of thought as broken, say, right? So then if we think about that naturally, we could also say that is about us, right? So these belief patterns most times are whenever we say something about someone else, so you point fingers at someone else, you've got three fingers pointing back at you. So typically, when we create that within ourselves and we start judging other people and saying they did that, they, you have to sometimes take a step back, right? And sometimes it doesn't happen right away. We go home at night and then we start to think and unwind and think about our day and how everything played out. And sometimes it comes to us and we go, whoa, okay, so that perception that I pushed onto someone else in a certain conversation where I blamed someone or I pushed the blame to someone else because I didn't want to take it for me. I felt like I didn't want to take it for me. Well, why should I? A lot of times we take things and we're like, well, I don't want to be the one at fault, right? Because if I'm at fault, well, then I'm a bad person. I'm, um, then I would have to accept that blame. And a lot of times, accepting the blame is really, really hard for every single person, even though, right? Sometimes taking it on, accepting the blame, it isn't bad, right? But when we were kids, every time our parents would be like, who did that? Was it you? Was it you? They even point to the dog, right? And the dog's looking at like, it wasn't me, but sometimes the children will go, yeah, it was the dog. He ate whatever, my homework, right? So I didn't get my homework done, or he ate your food. In fact, it was the children that ate your food, right? So it's all these things where everything to be honest about was always a bad thing because we thought we would get in trouble. And no one likes to be in trouble because the feeling of being in trouble feels ouchy, feels unwanted. No one wants to love someone that doesn't follow the rules. But what are the rules? If we want to go by that, what are rules exactly? Right? There are no rules. Rules really are in our life. There are rules, yes, right? You get married, you say all these, you have your vows, and those are the rules, right? But in the game of life, a lot of times rules are set as boundaries for some people. They're not necessarily clear cut, right? And boundaries are good. They're for you, they're for everyone. But sometimes those boundaries are boundaries that we've created for ourselves, that because we feel that someone else wants us to act and behave a certain way, right? And in the world today, for our children, the younger people, it's better. For when we were younger, when I was younger, I should say, um, there was always, what are people going to think? What are the neighbors going to think? You're a girl. Happy Women's International Day, by the way. So we've come a long way. We empower each other now. It's being part of the sisterhood, being part of a group of sisters wanting to help each other, boost each other up, right? In the last one, I talked about competition. We are not competing with others. We actually compete with ourselves. And competing, again, here's that sisterhood, and even the men, our brothers, right? Our husbands. It's not about competing with them. It's about being ourselves, our authentic selves, and being the best that we can to make our world and the world around us better. Okay. Let me see. Beliefs create fears within ourselves. It is one of those things where it's so hard to understand and so complicated. We make it complicated to want to let it go, even though a lot of times it's like, well, have you tried to do it, even like to let that fear go? But it's so hard because we're so scared of the unknown. But, feel the fear and do it anyways. I know everyone's like, Jonah, that's easy for you to say. You can do this. You're talking on a podcast, and you have no problems doing that. But I assure you, if someone were to have told me 5 years ago this is what I'd be doing, I would have probably laughed in their face and said, "Yeah, right. This is not." I like to kind of hide and be in the background, and here I am out in front of all of you guys, and I actually like it. It's great. It's still scary a little bit. I get nervous, as you could probably tell, and we're going into all these things and talking about private things. Times it just is a lot of putting myself out, right? And sometimes that's what you have to do in order to allow and to move forward and to be authentically you. And this, for example, I know I'm supposed to talk about helping people grow and show them how to open, be accepting, understand their intuition, and allowing them to know that it's okay. And it's not just for the woo woo or a weird, like, gypsy breed of people. That, we do have intuition within us, and that it's okay to listen to our bodies. We have to go on a quick break. You're watching Journey with Joan on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be back after these messages in 2 minutes.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, Radio show host and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And we're back. You're watching Journey with Joan, and I'm Joan Wyden, the host. Thank you for tuning in tonight. All right, again, let's get back to the topic of belief patterning and how it can. Let's actually talk about how it can interrupt our relationships. So our relationship with ourselves or with others, these personal beliefs. So a lot of times our beliefs can be really hard on us, right? And everyone's seen Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket, right? So Jiminy Cricket's sitting there talking to Pinocchio. He's like his consciousness, subconscious, telling him what to do. And when you watch it, it's not necessarily, so the subconscious says this is the right way to do it, but he goes the opposite. Or the subconscious actually says something and it's actually not, in fact, the best thing for Pinocchio at the time. Okay, so when these belief patterns come up, so basically, how when we were young, and let's say we felt we didn't get enough love and attention from our parents, right, or from any authority figure like that we deemed to be super close to, right? So if we didn't get enough attention, we would do certain things so that we would get the attention, right? And sometimes that attention isn't the best way to receive attention, okay? So then fast forward 30 years. You're now an adult. You're trying to get into a relationship. You're trying to love, honor your partner, right? Your partner, your spouse, your relationship. I can't remember all the different terms, right? So you're trying to keep that relationship and you're trying to be close to them. And you start saying things that are not necessarily nice, but that's your way of showing love, right? Because when you were younger, that's how you got the love back, right? So it was more of the naughty side until we start to figure out, hey, that doesn't really quite work. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people buy this, in your 30s, you're going to say, okay, well, that's just silliness and, the bachelor stuff or the single woman side of you go, okay, yeah, that I totally get, right? But then if you felt abandoned, right, you, again, would be more clingy and you would say, I want more. I just want more, right? Like, come see me. I want to be with you. I want. And it's not necessarily we're listening to our partner, our spouse, right? And we just want, and we're trying to explain to them what we need to feel loved. But in turn, they can sometimes perceive it as, well, it's all about you. You're making it about you, you, you. What about me? Like I want something. You know what I mean? Like I need my space. I need all these things. So back and forth. All of a sudden, there is a kind of a tug of war on what each other needs. So and as hard as this is, we almost need to take a step back and go, okay, well, what is it? What is it that triggers me to believe that if you don't spend enough time with me, that means you don't love me, right? And a lot of times that's not the case. Maybe, when you're first dating and they're not compatible with you, that is the case. And, but, at those moments, you got to start, all your belief systems about, hey, they're going to leave me. They're going to, they're into someone else. Do you think that they're seeing someone else? What about, are they being faithful? Like, how do I know they're really into me, Joan? Right? A lot of people ask, well, how do I know? How do you know? How can I make him stay with me? So, first off, you can't make anyone stay with you. Like, you just can't, right? So, we have to communicate, right? And sometimes we over communicate, especially if we feel like we were abandoned as a child, we didn't get enough love. So we over communicate. And then the person we're dating goes, whoa, that's too much, right? Way too much, way too soon. I'm not quite sure we're there yet, right? And so the people, so there's that push pull, right? And so if you get paired up with that, like say if you're online dating and then you go on the first date and one person's very kind of standoffish and, like take things slow, and the other one's all of a sudden like, I love you, let's get married, right? What's going to happen? It's like water and oil. You're going to separate. One person's going to get upset and the other person's going to go, okay, this is crazy, right? So a lot of times the things that we feel like always happens to us, we actually attract, right? So if you always feel like people always leave me, people are mean, they're always going to leave me, guess what? You're manifesting that person, you're just going to start picking the wrong people because you're going to look at them. And even though you don't do it on purpose, subconsciously, your mind goes, we don't want to get hurt. So we're going to pick whoever it is. And because we know that they will probably leave us. And so I'll be right. And I can keep in my little bubble and just feel safe. Right. So a lot of times when someone comes to me and says, hey, I always seem to find, people are always leaving me. I can't seem to find the right person. How can I find this person? They don't exist. Everyone's assholes. All they want is, to use and leave, etc. Right? So the first thing I say is, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's ground. What do you really want? What is this? Okay. And the patterns that you have showed me and told me about what you've done in order to get that relationship show that you give way too much all at once instead of allowing things to slowly marinate and let things progress naturally instead of just wham hitting them like with a truck with everything you got, just hoping it, you know like you can grab them and say, I'm going to love you and squeeze you and call you George, right? We all know that in the cartoon where Peppy, love you, won't let go of the poor cat. So, when one does that, the other person's reaction is to go, whoa, get away from me, right? So again, we allow ourselves, right? And we want everyone to love us. So we just blah, 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 right? So it's take a step back, relax, allow things to marinate, and talk, and you can see, right? And it's not that everyone that you're matched with is going to be a perfect match with you, right? Just allow. Now, are there going to be assholes? Yes. Are there going to be ladies that just want to use? Yeah, right? It doesn't matter. Ladies, men, doesn't matter, right? There are some people out there that's their style and that's what they feel they need at this moment is short, non-committal, right? Relationship. And that's okay, right? We can't judge what they need. That's what they think they need, and that's okay. But for you, if that's not what you want, you go, thank you. This is not what I am looking for. And then we start over again. Does that mean they abandoned you and that you can't find anyone that's good for you? No, it doesn't. Okay. Um, as for finding love and saying, I can't find anyone, if you don't put your heart out on the line and wear it on your sleeve a little bit, does it mean you're going to get hurt? Yes. But you won't be able to find that love unless you actually show your heart. And unfortunately, that is a risk that we all need to take because you can't find love if you want to hide your own love, right? It starts within us if we love ourselves, and we are the worst person to ourselves to be nice to ourselves. All we do is like, oh my goodness, I this was bad, I can't believe I did this, I can't believe I did that, natter, 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 right? And if we were our friends, we wouldn't be friends with ourselves most times, right? So when that happens again, you take a step back, you take a deep breath, and you go, okay, no, thank you, but no, and okay, stop. Does that just because I feel like that wasn't a very good thing or I didn't do well in something, does it mean I actually did it? Does it mean that it was actually wrong? No, it's a perception. And I felt like it wasn't perfect in the way that I felt and perceived it should be, right? So we have to cut ourselves a break and just allow. And it's okay, right? We are allowed to make mistakes. We are human. That's how we learn and we grow. All right. And so let's say for a career path, people want to grow. Some people say, Joan, I want to be a C-suite, right? What are you doing to advance yourself in that? Okay. There's so many different things in our career that we need to understand and believe. Do you like your CEOs? Do you like any of the C-suite people? Do you love your job? Right? Sometimes it's as easy as that. Loving what you're doing. If you don't love what you do, it's kind of hard to get to the top, right? Because the top, that means you got to spend some extra time, possibly. Maybe you don't, right? We're going to continue this conversation after the short break. You're watching Journey with Joan on the Bold Brave TV network.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com. or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. I'm Joan Wyden with Journey with Joan. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with me. We are talking about how belief patterns can disrupt our lives. So before the break, I was talking about advancing in our career. How do we advance in our career? What can we do, right? So a lot of people ask me, Joan, I want to be a C-suite. How can I get there? What am I doing? I'm working my darndest to get there, but I can't seem to break past management. Okay. So then first thing I ask them, do you love your job? Well, it's okay. Well, okay. If you don't love your job, how are you supposed to move forward, right? Because when we love something, it's going to be natural. It's going to be natural for us to move forward. And sometimes when we love it, actually, when you want to move forward, but you're not necessarily loving your job, but all you know is the end game where you want to be higher. So you overcompensate by giving so much. So you're going and you're giving, and a lot of times I'm going to tell you, employers, they look at that and go, why would we advance them? They're giving us the management work, but yet, we're paying them at a lower wage. And I'm not saying that all employers do that, but it's also a mindset, right? Every company has a budget. Everyone has different things that they have to worry about. And if a manager has an employee that's working 10 times harder than anyone else, and they're making them look really good, they can take a lot of the credit and allow them just to be there, right? They can give them a little bit of a raise. They can, do you see what I mean? So when you love something, that's great. But if you don't really love it, but you're only looking at the actual end game, sometimes we overcompensate. And a lot of times, less is more, right? We need to value ourselves in order to grow and get higher. Again, that can stem from I didn't get enough attention or enough love when I was younger, right? And to prove it, because I want my parents to be proud of me. What am I going to do? I'm going to do everything in my power to do so much things so that they can be happy with me. They can be proud of me. They can, they'll shower me with praises. And, so that can be tough. So I'll tell you, when I was little, I got told a lot that I talk too much, right? And so as an adult, when I was in a job, someone would go, shh, or hey, try and not allow the customer to talk too long. So, because we got to make sure that you only spend X amount of time on the phone because you got to get to the next customer, right? So I worked at a call center where everything was timed, and you could see, because it would start flashing red if you were talking too long and people were waiting in the queue and taking too long, and we would get in trouble, right? So again, it was talking too long, and oh my goodness, right? I'm going to get in trouble, right? And it's all these things that goes, it's all alarm bells and everything. Never mind that maybe the customer needed the extra attention because their case was more complicated, right? Everything was, I need to get off the phone because I talk too much. That's a bad thing, right? So after that, I was able to go, actually, yes, I own that. I do talk too much. I like to talk, right? And if you know me and we get to be close, we can have conversations for hours. It's great. But it doesn't mean it's bad. Um, but at the same time, if we're done talking about something, then we're done. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, in my sessions with someone else, private session, if I'm talking to you and the hour is up, but I'm not done talking to you because spirit has other things they need to talk to you, guess what? I won't go, all right, it's an hour, we're done. Well, I'll still talk to you. Will I go on forever? No. But I won't leave anyone hanging. And so I just needed to accept for me that, yeah, okay, maybe that was true. I did talk a lot. That doesn't mean it was a bad thing. So, again, so in careers, what my main thing for people is look for those jobs. Look for advancement. Love what you do. If you don't love what you do, it's going to be really hard for you to move in the C-suite, right? Do you love your CEO? Do you know people that are CEOs, CFOs, COOs, whatever? Do you know people that are in those roles? And do you like those people? Do those people inspire you to be what they are? Because I'm going to tell you, if they do not, and you think, oh man, are they ever fucking assholes? Why would you want to be in that spot? Does that make sense? A lot of times, our mind, if we think that person's a fucking asshole, our subconscious and our belief systems will prevent us from going there. Why? Because we don't want to be that asshole, right? I don't want to be an ass, right? So our bodies and our minds protect us from going there, right? So we got to know that if those people are not very nice people, that's okay, right? As long as you know that that person isn't going to be someone that, what's it called? That you're aspiring to be, right? You can be the change, right? And you can make being a CEO, COO, CFO, C whatever, right? President. You can make that be authentically you, because you can be a nice person, you can be all these things, right? But sometimes when we perceive that person, that CEO, CO, whatever, and they're not very nice, we've all run into those, right? And it's so hard to get out of the, oh my God, I can't believe, oh, I want to just, right? So it's hard to really get into wanting to advance that way, right? But when we know that we won't be that, and really know to the core and we can see it and go, you know what? I want to be that change. I want to know. And I feel in my heart that when I get there, I will be completely different. And if you have to leave and not be be friends with that person that is that way, sometimes so be it, right? Because again, that prevents you from moving up. And I know it sounds really weird, but deep down, it comes back to bite us to say, but I don't want to be that person, right? But we have to tell ourselves, but we are not that person. I am me, right? And again, sometimes when we tell people, I'm going to be a COO one day, and some people are like, what? Why would you think that? Why would you do that? You don't have this, you don't have that, and so people start shaming and people go tell you, you can't do that. Sometimes for some people, that's great. Like me, when I was told that when I was younger, I'd go, screw you. I will show you and I will do it. And when I do it, I will. I'll just do it. You know what I mean? I don't even need to go, see, I told you so, because I'll just do it and then that will be enough of the I told you so, right? But there's other people that go, when some people say that, it really hurts them, right? And it hurts them right to the core, to their soul. And that when they start climbing and they try and do that, that prevents them from actually moving forward as well, right? Because in their head, they keep hearing that person's voice. I'm not, why do you think you can do this? You don't have that education. You don't have this. You don't have that. And there's a lot of people with insecurities that go, you're right. They're right. Oh my God. Right? I don't know if I can do that. Maybe they're correct. Right? Instead of thinking and feeling within themselves, why do I need to have that education? I know certain people, right? Like, Bill Gates, dropout, right? I think Meta guy, I can't remember his name, but Zuckerberg, I believe he was also, he might have been, maybe he did finish. I don't know, right? Again, look at these people. You would never know. And does it matter? It doesn't matter. They are all doing well, right? So we all have to just know that if we want something and we strive for it, we just have to just go for it. And I know there's fear, but it doesn't matter because you know you the best. And if you want it, it's just right there. It's up to you to just pick it, right? Take it and grab it and take it for yourself, right? The universe is abundant. The universe wants to see us thrive. The universe is very forgiving and they want us to be profitable, happy, successful, just thrive. They want us to be authentically us, right? All right, it's time again to go on a short break. You're watching Journey with Joan. We'll be right back after these messages.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
And we're back. Thank you for joining me. I am Joan Wyden with Journey with Joan. All right, so my absolute favorite, we were talking about before, about people shaming us or telling us, why can we do that? Why, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because again, that's their own perceptions. And people throw their perceptions and judgments at us. And as an individual and a soul being, we have to say, no, I don't accept that. But a lot of times we do accept it and we buy it. And then we have, negative Nelly, Jiminy Cricket here beside us going, ooh, they said, I don't know if I can do that. But my absolute favorite, what people have told me was, who do you think you are? Right? And so when I was younger, I was like, when I was a child, every time someone said that to me, I would feel confused because I'd be like, I'm Joan, right? And I had a different last name then, but if someone said that to me, I'd be like, I'm Joan Wyden. Like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, but that was the biggest thing. And to this day, I think it's hilarious when someone asks me, who do you think you are? I always look at them and say, I'm Joan and I'm Joan Wyden. Who are you? Like, I don't understand what that means, because I'm Joan Wyden and I'm proud to be Joan Wyden, right? And so it doesn't matter. Again, like, why is that a bad thing when someone says that to you? It's not a bad thing. It really isn't, right? It's like, who do you think you are? I'm Joan Wyden and I'm proud of it. And you know what? I know I can do a ton of things. Is it scary at times? Abso-fucking-lutely. But sometimes we just need to strive and go forward and do our best. And you know what? If we feel a little bit of fear, you know what? That just means we are moving forward. Because if we feel like, yes, I'm super confident, right? We can be confident and feel a little bit of fear. That's okay. But if we feel comfortable and confident, typically that just means we're stagnant. We're staying still. We're living in the past because we've known we've done that, right? Like even tonight with the podcast, I did last week's, right? And I was a bit nervous and we had technical difficulties, all this stuff, right? So tonight, same thing. There was a little bit of a blip, but whatever, right? I felt confident if I know what I was doing tonight, but at the same time, a lot of things, there's still a little bit of fear, and that's okay. It's okay to have some fear. Fear is healthy. Being super scared, not so much, right? So we feel the fear, we do it anyways, right? That's a book, that's a saying, that's a journey, right? We are allowed, right? So allow us to be us, because again, the universe is abundant. They're going to allow us to be us authentically. And when we shine within ourselves to be authentically us, the world will see us as who we are, and we will grow, right? There's no reason for you not to grow. When you are mean to yourself and really kind of try and hide, like I did a lot of my years, because it was scary to come out and be, hey, I can speak to dead people. Right? You'll look at you like, holy, you're kind of crazy. Right? So allow and just be and authentically do. And things just start to show up in your life, because you know what? The universe wants you to thrive. They will allow, just like if you want to be that CEO, see the C suite, right? If that's what you aspire to do, you will get there, right? Just make sure you're moving towards that, right? So apply for jobs that make you to go higher, right? And then after that, okay, great. You've learned that, you've done that, you've been that manager, start applying again at another thing. And some people have said, but Joan, I feel like I'm being inauthentic about that. And I'm like, okay, but what have you done and what have you shown? Have, like in your last job, do you have employees under you? Have you done all these things? And the answer is yes. And I'm like, okay, so then tell me in that job description what isn't true that you can't do? Nothing. Okay, so why do you think you can't do that? Does that make sense? So you slowly grow. How do you grow? By getting experience, by getting yourself out there, putting yourself out there in order to get into that position. I'm going to tell you, the people that are in those positions right now did not wake up and go, yay, hallelujah, I am a CEO. Right? Sometimes it happens. It does. But most times they have grown into those, right? Sometimes you wake up and you go, yeah, I'm gonna have my own company. Guess what? You can give yourself the title CEO, right? That works too. Anyways, so with these, and then I'm gonna slowly touch on a little bit touch on the health part, and how our perceptions and shame and everything can like affect our health. Again, when we allow other people to shame us or talk down to us, it creates unnecessary and undue stress in our bodies, right? Because again, it's a toxic feeling, and that energy gets stuck to us, right? And it starts eating away, right? And we can't shut down at night. Because, so and so said, I can't believe you're doing this. Why do you think you can do this? Right? So then when we put our head down and go to rest, and if we're concerned about what other people think, and by the way, someone told me this a while ago, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. It's none of your business what other people think of you, right? The only business is what you think of you. When you can learn to accept that and honor that within yourself, a lot of things will change for you, right? And when you say, you know what, you're right, it's none of my business what other people think of me, life just gets so much better. because you won't care. You'll go dancing in the street. It doesn't matter. Who cares? You know what? Someone might join you, right? Dance it out. And you can feel more relaxed and great, and just allow, right? And just be authentically you and just shine, because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks, right? We want to be, and I want you to be you, and allow yourself to be happy, right? And stop the natter. And when that natter is so loud that you can't allow it, like you feel like you can't shut it off, right? You just go, stop, right? Say it out loud. And if it keeps doing it and you say, stop, right? And then your body kind of like, it's almost like slapping yourself in the face and going, okay, you're right. Why am I saying this to myself? There's no reason for it, right? There's no failure. Like, there's no failure. A failure is a perception that we put on ourselves, right? It just means maybe we didn't get there today, but there's still, tomorrow. But and I'm going to tell you, tomorrow never comes. So we must live for today. And so, in order to change our beliefs and perceptions about ourselves, it's 1 minute by minute, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, right? And we slowly change things so we can better ourselves and we can love ourselves and we can change our perception about who we are, right? We are not losers. We are happy. We are happy people that need to love ourselves, be more grateful to ourselves because we've come a long ways from when we were children and from where we actually grew up from, right? We are totally different people and we need to be in love with ourselves so we can be happy and healthy and spread happy, healthy thoughts to other people. All right. We are out of time this week. Thank you very much for sticking it out with me and watching and being here. I'm so happy and grateful to have you all. If you have any questions, please send me a message and I will answer your questions. Or you can always call in. Thank you so very much. And I'll see you next week on the Bold Brave TV network at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Thank you for watching. This is Journey with Joan, and I'm Joan Wyden.
This has been Journey with Joan, with your host, Joan Wyden. Tune in each week and start creating the life you deserve. Here Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.